Now, something you said recently, and I cheered this on, that partisan politics is making a fool of all of us. And so we can take a look at this boat bombing, and no matter what party you fall on, you should not cheer for this, because you know that the U.S. government regularly bombs civilians with bad intel. And in fact, I think about this leftist story in the book of Chelsea Manning, where at the time he was a he, so I'm going to call him a he. He says it was his job to gather intel on a terrorist in Iraq. And he said, this guy's moved. He doesn't live here anymore. So if you want to target him there. And then U.S. troops went and bombed the old address. And it was civilians who had moved there. And he was like, I told you guys, he doesn't live there. So we just bombed civilians. You have to think that that is not an unusual story. That is what made him become a whistleblower. And so when we see this, there's no partisan politics that should push us to cheer for this. That's how I feel.
By being in charge of our Bill of Rights, they have got their ick all over our most sacred traditions. So now, if it's your president doing the killing, it's okay. It's Barack Obama murdering people with robot drones or hiring Al-Qaeda mercenaries to suicide bomb them all to death. Well, that's okay, because he's your guy and he's better than the other guy. Or if it's Donald Trump doing it, well, what are you going to expect? He's got to fight America's enemies and protect America's interests. You're just going to make excuses for it? Or no, wait a minute. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights, they don't change just because there was an election. And they should not in any way be discredited because John McCain failed to protect them when it was his job, right? And the center liberal establishment got their failure all over the entire American system. Pardon me, the constitutional system, and especially the Bill of Rights, are of the highest importance. You're going to let them tell you which church you got to go to? Okay, well, then the Fifth and the Sixth Amendments matter too, right? You're going to let them take your guns? All right, then due process of law also matters. Every word of that is our responsibility to inflict on our government. These are, in fact, if you read the preamble to the Bill of Rights, these are declaratory and restrictive clauses added by the people against them. That's why it doesn't say, we have decided to allow you to go whatever church you want to. It says they have no right to tell us what church to go to. They have no right to take our gun. They have no right to put us in prison without a real process and a jury of our peers and all of these things in order to make sure and all that. That's what the Bill of Rights is for, and it's our responsibility to enforce that.